Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Everything Spice. Well, today's my day off. And what do I do on my day off? I cook, I bake, I get it done. So that's what we do as women, right? Some men too. I'll give you that. So today what I'm making is I am making a beef pot pie. Yeah, I am. And a simple beef pot pie. I'm going to use a pre-made crust. I am not going to make my own crust. Now I have, but I am not doing that today. So what I'm starting with is 2 starch potatoes, and I'm peeling them up. And what I'm going to do with these 2 starch potatoes, I guess you're going to have to see, right? I'm putting them in the pot pie. I have a few ingredients. I made the beef a day or so in advance. And how I did it was I put some beef, what is it called? Stew meat in a crock pot with some spices, right? A little bit of liquid, some wine is the liquid. And then I put it on for about, on a crock pot, like I said, right? I did mention that. Put it on for about, I don't know, 8 hours on low. Cooled it down and put it in the refrigerator. So today, what we're gonna do is use that beef to our advantage. And we're gonna make this beef pot pie with it. Why not Sunday? Sunday is one of those days where you just bake and cook. At least I do anyways. I find it to be therapeutic. Some people find it to be a chore, but I like it. So that is what I am doing today on my Sunday. So I said, why not show all of my friends out there in TV land how to do this as well. Maybe they would want to do it on a Sunday. So, 2 potatoes, starchy potatoes. I don't know if there is starch in all potatoes, but not all potatoes are created equal. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut them in half and make cubes out of them. I already got the pan here with the water in it. Let me see if I can show you how I do it. Now what you want to do here is you want to split them in halves and make cubes out of them. Is this going to be perfection? Absolutely not. It's home cooking, it's rustic. I did not go to culinary school. So if the pieces are not, exactly feng shui or politically correct or whatever they call it, oh well, I could live with that. Okay, so cut them into cubes. You want them into bite-sized cubes, right? Because that's how you're gonna eat them. So we're gonna put them into the pot of water. We'll salt the water and then we'll cook them until they're tender. Not fully cooked though, because if we fully cook them, right, what's gonna happen? They might be too cooked and then they'll be mush. We don't want that. Now, what happened was, and this is why I'm back, I'm still boiling the potatoes. I have broken down the meat. Let me show you what I did. I took the food processor and I broke down the meat, okay? Because I wanted it to make it was very hard still, and I wanted to make it a little bit more palatable. So I broke down the meat that I think I'm gonna need for the big penal that I have. Okay, I'm gonna add the ingredients later, but what happened was, when I was looking at the pan, I had to use the 2 pie crusts to make the pie, the bottom of the pan fit, because it's a big pan, okay? So now I gotta make my own dough for the top. Not a big deal. I always use this recipe. It's a double crusted recipe from Pie. Okay, this recipe right here. And what is it? Ken Haedrich. Sorry if I butchered your name, Ken. So what we do here is, in this bowl, I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 tablespoon of sugar, 1 teaspoon of salt. Now, what I'm going to add to that, this is kind of like a scone recipe, how you make this pie, but it's super cool, and it is a science. So you got to do it in the method that, the order that it asks. So what we do is we stir it up, make sure everything is combined. The first thing that goes in is a half a cup of butter, and I cubed it, and it's going to be cold. No melting, no nothing, right? Then what you do is you take your pastry brush here, dough cutter, and you're gonna push all of that in, okay? Moving the book somewhere else so that way I have room to get in there. And what you're gonna do is make it like coarse crumbs. So like scones are like that too, very similar. So it's gonna be like a coarse crumb. So this is why the pastry cutter is really important to have. You could use a fork though, or you could use your hands. And if you use your hands, just use the fingertips. Don't use your whole hand because there's a lot of heat in your hand. If you use the fingertips to break it, it's a little bit easier. But you know, I got my nails, baby. You know what I'm saying? I got my nail polish going on. I ain't doing that. That's why I use gloves a lot, because it's like, I don't want to get my manicure dirty. Come on now. I work hard on those nails. I do those nails myself. Every week I do my nails. I don't want to pay to go get them done, so I don't want to ruin them before I have to redo them again. All right, so let's do this. Get it in there like that. And this is perfection. Look at that. And then you have big pieces of butter, you have little pieces of butter, and that's what makes the perfect kind of crust or scone. Really it does. And this is very sharp, so be careful with your hands. Don't get your hands cut in there. Now, what I'm going to do here, too, is I'm going to add some shortening. And it has to be cold, remember. This is a science. Baking is a science, and it has to be in the order it asks for. So I have a half a cup of butter, half a cup of shortening. I'm telling you, this is so easy, this recipe. So simple, but it makes pie crust. Can you believe that? How amazing is that? It makes a pie crust. So we're gonna also incorporate this into the dough. And this is gonna make a nice flaky dough. And it's gonna be so pretty on top of my pie, my beef pot pie. But I just wanted to show you this because if you have to, you know, you ran out of dough, what are you supposed to do, right? Cry, run to the store. Well, you could, but is that gonna solve a problem? No, it's not. You make your own, baby. If you have a well-stocked pantry, you could make your own pie crust in minutes versus the store-bought, which I do have, mind you. I said I did. I was going to go that route, but because I decided to make a big beef pot pie versus a smaller pot pie, now I got to do it this way. Because I'm giving it away. Let's face it. I have another meal that I'm making today. So I'm going to give this pot pie away to a family. So I wanted to make it substantial enough that they could all enjoy and have a little bit extra. You know, maybe some leftovers, who knows. Okay, here we go. Now, this is what it looks like. And yes, I'm going to get a manicure, I'm going to wash it, whatever. See how it's coarse crumbs? That is how it's supposed to look. Now we're going to add the water, but how we're going to do it is very judiciously, as they say. Meaning, we're going to go slow with it. Because you can add to something. Guess what you can't do? Take it away, baby. No, you cannot. So don't put it too much because you don't want a super wet dough. You really don't, because it ruins the whole thing. So, slowly, and you can use your food processor. You could use your you could use your food processor with this. You could also use your mixer. I'm gonna go by hands. I do have a food processor, but I used it to break down the meat, so I haven't washed it yet. And guess what happened to my mixer? I was doing an episode on my show for cookies, right? Unreal. I'm smelling this burning smell for the longest time, right? In between making these cookies with my son. And I'm like, where's the smell coming from? It smells like burning. Well, my oven's not on. Nothing's going wrong, right? The inside, no. I'm smelling everything. Smelling refrigerators, trying to figure this out. And guess what? The top stove was opened where the actual mixer was standing on, burnt the complete motor out. The bottom was goo. I lifted it up. It was all goo. This was on. It must have got hit in the back. Ruined. I had to throw it out. But today, baby, another one's coming in the mail. But it cost me some money, I'm telling you right now. Mistakes. Oh, my goodness. Kitchen disasters happen to the best of us, my friends. Happened to the best of us. And I'm admitting it on my show. Yes, yes, I am. I'm admitting it. It was bad. So bad. Okay. Now, take it, and if you can do this, you're fine with it. You don't need to put any more water. Nah, there was a smidge more. Don't add it. Don't add it if you don't need to. Let me clean up my mess. Clear the decks. Now, keep a little flour just in case you need it for the board. You might need a bit of flour. What is this? Look at this. Get out of here, butter. Okay. Clear the decks. Now, what we're going to do is put this all on the board. I call this the board. I know, it's going to be a mess. But if you ain't making a mess, baby, you ain't doing it right. Okay, here we go. And the whole thing came out in my hand. Are you for kidding me, meow? Are you for real? Now see, look at this. I said I wasn't going to make a mess of my manicure, and now I have. Whatever, I need to change the color anyways. All right, so push it together. This is the difference between making, say, this or bread. With bread, you're pretty much slapping it around, baby. But you're not doing that with pie crust because you don't want to toughen the pie crust. You just want to form it just so it comes together. And how it comes together is just by squeezing it. And all the butter and all the shortening, right? It's like Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. And all the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty back together again. But with this pie crust, you put it back together again, right? Here comes Humpty. We're going to make him. We're going to make Humpty Dumpty back again out of a pie crust even. Yeah. So just form it until it turns into a disc. Now, it feels a bit on the dry side. Feels it. Because you know why? Because the heat's on in the house, baby, and the humidity is not there. So add a little bit. I know it's already formed, but you can still fool around with it. See? Now it's a little bit more wet. A little bit more easier to work with. So work that dough, baby. Work that dough. Until it forms into a disc. Turn it, pat it. It's almost like how you're making scones before you cut them. You do it just the same. Okay, wrap it up just like that. And then if you want to, while it's in the plastic wrap, roll it into that disc, right? So it has a better shape, just like that. Slap it, slap it, slap it. Show it who's boss. And then refrigerate it for about an hour, and then we'll come back and we will finish. Now, here we go. Here we go, here we go. Now, let's put spices in first. I'm gonna do pepper. Well, I'll do it afterwards. Let's put the other stuff in. Okay, what we're doing here is this. I got my secret weapon, which is a vegetable beef soup. Wanted to add a little bit extra oomph instead of just broth. I'm gonna add some extra wonderfulness with peas and carrots, baby. Peas and carrots, carrots and peas. They are yummy. You can use any vegetable you want. And if you are vegan or vegetarian and you don't like the beef portion of this, you could certainly use a vegetable soup. Or you can use the peas and carrots. You can use a substitute. Today they have substitutes for beef that you can use. Crumbles, you know, I've seen them in stores. I haven't used them yet. And then of course they have vegan pie crusts, vegan flour, so you can actually stay away from the shortening or anything that, you know, if you're not into that. To make it your own, make it your own. Okay, let's add some potatoes. Add that all in. I'm using all of it. And if some of it mashes, even better, man, even better. That ain't a problem. Now mix it in really well. Fold it in if you can. Fold it in. Try not to break it up. And then I'll add my spices to this afterwards, after I fold all this beautiful stuff in. It looks like a hot mess, doesn't it? It really does. But when you add pie crust to this, that hot mess turns into Yumville fabulous, wonderful. Wish I had a bite of that. I guess you're gonna have to try it because I can't, listen, I can't just shove it through the camera. No, it doesn't work that way, unfortunately. Can't do it, can't do it. And what'll happen is there's liquid, there's plenty of liquid in here. You don't think there is, but you can hear it. And when the heat hits it, it is gonna create this beautiful gravy that's gonna coat everything. It's gonna be so wonderful. Okay, now, food and spices, onion powder. Because you can never have enough onion powder. I'm just saying. I just like it. Garlic powder. Yeah, I do. I love it even more. Garlic powder. Gots to have me some garlic. I just love garlic powder. Don't put too much liquid in here because I'm telling you, just don't be tempted to do that. Parsley, parsley, and pepper. That's it. I got enough seasoning from when I made the actual beef itself that I don't really need to do anything else to this. Super casual, fragilistic, expialidocious. Don't ask me to say it again. That was hard enough to say the first time. But this is what it's going to be when you have this beautiful meat mixture in a pie crust. I'm telling you what, you're going to love it. You're going to love it, love it, love it, love it. Well, the person who receives it is going to love it because this is a gift. And gifts of food, I'll tell you what, this is the season of giving. I'm telling you, I've decided that I am going to give all year long. It doesn't have to be the holidays to give to people. You know, everybody's going through hard times these days. And showing people that you care about them by baking stuff for them, by cooking for them. Tell me that ain't love. Tell me that ain't, what is it? What do they call it in the Bible? Agape love, where you're showing fellow feeling for another person. Tell me that ain't Christian. That's a wonderful thing to be able to gift somebody something like this. They would appreciate that. They don't have to cook. Tell me that ain't something to be appreciative about. Now I have a meal that I don't have to make myself. All right, here it is. There it is. This is the beef mixture. Join me on the other side when you see the finished product, okay? I'm gonna put it in the pan, put the pie crust over it, and bake it for 350 degrees for probably 45 minutes to an hour. I might have to cover it if it gets too brown, the pie crust, but I want the internal to cook. So it's gonna take a little bit longer. So join me on the other side for the finished product. Beef pot pie, my friends, on a Sunday. Now that's something to be thankful for. Amen. Okay, I'm back, and this is the final reveal of this delicious meal. The final reveal of this delicious meal. Does that not rhyme? Yeah, it does. All right, here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Look at this lusciousness. Let me come over here closer so you can see. Ooh, 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 it's so good for you. This is my version of meat pie. Come on high, hang on. And see my meat pie? Look how delicious that meat pie looks. And I'll tell you what, for the person who's getting it, they're going to be happy tonight. And I'll tell you, I'm pretty impressed. I think it looks fantastic. And I think if you tried it for your family, whether it's gifting it to somebody or making it for your family, they're going to be impressed as well. So, if you like this episode, if you enjoyed the recipe as much as I enjoyed making it for you, please like, subscribe, and join me next time for Everything Spice. Have a great day, everybody. Be safe.